Alright everybody, Nick here again from CPAP Reviews. Welcome to part 2 of our 3-part series on the Philips Dreamstation. Part 1 I went through just setting up the machine. Part 2 I'm going to go through the menu, and then part 3 we're going to go through the clinical menu, which is a bit more advanced, okay, if you can be bothered getting that far into the series. But let's have a look at the menu system. So this machine has a very user-friendly menu system. It uses icons. It has a lovely dial here that you can rotate and click in. So we're going to go through and just talk about it. This is the actual Pro. So this is the fixed pressure one. You might have an automatic one, which might be a little bit different, but you know, the usability of them is very similar, okay, and the interface is very similar. So without further ado, let's have a look. So once again, I do have this little dial here, and once this little LCD screen here, which has these icons. If we rotate this dial, it's going to go between the icons, okay. The first icon is My Info, the second one says Preheat, third one My Provider, and the fourth one My Setup. So the main ones you're going to use are going to be the Info, the My Setup, and the Preheat. So each icon, we can actually go into the icon by clicking this wheel in. So if we push that in, it takes us into My Info. Now on the start here with My Info, the first thing we have here is the therapy hours, and it breaks it down into 1 day, 7 day, and 30 day. So if we're looking at the 1 day, that's last night. So that's how many hours you actually had of therapy. So if it's 7.5, you've got basically 7.5 hours therapy. 7 day is an average over the last 7 days, and 30 day is an average over the last 30 days. Pretty self-explanatory. If we rotate one to the right, AHI, now this is Apnea Hypopnea Index. Now, apnea-hypopnea index is how many times per hour there is events happening. And by events, we're talking apneas, hypopneas, any sort of sleep-disordered breathing events, which we want to minimize. So we try and get this number less than 5. That's the goal of the therapy. If you're between 5 and 10, you're still actually having mild sleep apnea. 5 to 15, sorry, 15 to 30 moderate, and plus 30 is severe. So you want to try and get that down to less than 5. If you're just a bit over 5, not a big deal, but certainly, you know, if you're getting towards 10, you might need to just consult your sleep care professional in regards to trying to get that number down. We rotate one more clockwise, so just grab the dial, rotate clockwise. We have mask fit, okay. Now the mask fit is it displays a value of 100% minus large leak. Now, large leak is the percentage of time that the mask leak was so high that it was no longer possible for the device to identify respiratory events with accuracy. So basically, your therapy starts off at 100%. Now, if you're having lots of mask leak through the night, so your mask isn't sealing well, that percentage is going to drop down. Now, if you're getting a value of, say, 80%, it means that 20% of the night, the machine wasn't able to deliver the correct amount of pressure, all right? Or if you have an automatic machine, the machine wasn't able to determine the respiratory events correctly, all right, with statistical accuracy. All right, so we want to get that as high as possible in terms of the percentage. And if your number is down, getting quite low, you might need to work on getting a new mask, maybe getting a new seal, some new head straps, or just working on just your general fitting of the mask itself. All right, so try and get that up as high as possible towards 100%. If you're getting 100%, you're killing it. All right, and once again, it displays it 1 day, 7 day, and 30 day averages. If we scroll on to the right there, periodic breathing. So this displays the percentage of time that the user experienced periodic breathing, and it displays the values for 1, 7, and 30 days. If you observe a large increase in the percentage of time in periodic breathing indicated here, contact your home care professional. So if this number is continuously increasing over, just check your 7-day average, and if it continuously going up, you might need to get your home care professional to have a bit of a look at that. And then if you go to the last couple of ones, it's just going on about the Dream Mapper. So Dream Mapper, if you go to dreammapper.com, Dream Mapper is the app that you can get, which syncs the data to your smartphone. So you can head over to dreammapper.com. I'll put a link in the description of this video where you can look at instructional videos and stuff like that. So what we're going to do now, we don't need to go any further. We can scroll back, and as you see I'm scrolling back, it's going closer towards this green arrow, anti-clockwise. We get to that, press the main menu here, and it takes us back to the main menu. So that's my info, mostly data stuff, okay, but it does give you an insight into how your therapy is going, and then enables us later in part 3 to perhaps adjust some of the therapy values to then improve the my info, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to scroll one to the right. Preheat. Now, preheat enables you to preheat the humidifier chamber so that it will preheat it for 30 minutes so that when you go to bed, you instantly get humidification. Otherwise, if you just put your mask on and you put your water in the chamber, put your mask on and hit the button, it's going to take a bit of time, probably about 30 minutes before that heater heats that water up and then starts delivering optimal humidification. So what we do with this, we just click the button in, rotate clockwise, and it says on, it goes from on, and then we just press in it again, and now preheat's on. So it's going to preheat the humidification chamber at the back. Okay, but now we're going to rotate one to the right again. So this is my provider. The My Provider has basically information to do with where you got the machine from, and also a bit information about the device. So it'll have on it, the device info, serial number, model, software version. It'll have your provider contact info, bits and pieces like that. Some people have to phone in, if they're a truck driver or they've got a professional job as a driver. In the transport industry and they've got sleep apnea, they might have to report to authorities regarding this, and you can do that through the My Provider section. I'm not going to go into it now because it's not really that important. And then the last one, which is important, is My Setup. So let's go into My Setup and have a look at what we've got here. So keep in mind, once again, this is the Pro version, which is the fixed pressure one, not the automatic. So the first is ramp. It enables us to change the ramp value, and the ramp is, because this machine's set to I think 10 centimeters, this is the ramp start pressure. Okay, so a bit higher if we want to. We're going to just keep it at 4 for now, okay, so don't worry too much about that. Flex, because this machine is the Pro, it's the fixed pressure one, you only have one mode of flex, which is your C-Flex. All right, and we can run that between 1, 2, and 3. If we go up, the higher we go up in terms of the value there, the more pressure relief we get as we breathe out. So as we're breathing out, the machine will drop the pressure to help us exhale against that pressure, okay? So I recommend you just try them. Try it on 3. If you find that, you don't like it, try it on 2, try it on 1. Or maybe start at 1 and go to 3, either or. Just try them out and see which one you prefer. Once again, you lock it in by clicking it in, rotate one to the right. Now, this says here, humidification heated tube locked, okay? So, because we're using heated tube system, that actually locks. If we're not using a heated tube system, I'll just take that out. It gives us, I recommend we use heated tube, but if we don't, it gives us the ability of adaptive or fixed, okay? So they're the two options, adaptive or fixed. Adaptive means it's going to monitor the ambient humidification. The machine's going to monitor the ambient humidification in the air, and then it will adapt. So it will change the heat plate, the temperature of the heat plate, to adapt to deliver optimal humidification. Fixed means that we're setting the fixed temperature of the heat plate, so the fixed humidification value. I reckon if you don't have heated tube, go adaptive. All right, but once we put that heated tube in, it locks it in. Okay, there's nothing you can't change that anymore. Now, mask type. If you're using a Philips Respironics mask, they come with a resistance value. Okay, and that goes between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and off. So if you're using someone else's mask, like a ResMed with this machine or a Fisher & Paykel, have it as off. If you're using a Philips Respironics mask, on the mask itself, it'll have a little number on the packaging of the mask, a little number, an X1, X2, X3, X4, X5. Okay, and setting this allows you to adjust the level of air pressure relief based on the specific Philips Respironics mask. So this corresponds with the mask, X1, and that means the machine will know what level of air pressure relief to provide based on that number. Okay, it's not that important. If you don't want to fiddle around with that, don't worry too much. We'll leave it off for now. One more to the right. Okay, so click that in. The heated tube's locked because it's 15mm heated tube that we've currently got in here, so that's locked. Remember before as well it was locked, same thing locked, okay? If we take this out, it might change for us, yeah. And now this changes, we can have it 15 or 22mm, depending on the thickness of the tube itself. It normally says it around the rim that connects to your mask, what size it is, but otherwise just measure, yeah. If it's thin, it's 15. If it's a bit thicker, it's 22. All right, but we're going to put this in, and it just locks it at 15mm heated tube. That's all you can get when it's heated tube. And then you've got your language you can change as well. Modem is on with this machine, and Bluetooth is also on as well. We can change that. We can set the time. It's pretty straightforward. You click it in, and you just change the time to whatever you need to change it to. All right. And then back to the main menu. So that's basically the menu structure. It's pretty straightforward. I will take you through a few more things now in terms of just cleaning the filter. So I'm just going to rotate this to the side here. You can see there's a little part here that we can lift up. Now here's your filter, just in here, it just slides straight out. Okay, so pull that out. Now these filters, this is the washable one. You can get another one that connects to the bottom, okay, which is an ultra fine one. This one here, you can wash it, but you want to change it every 30 days. Okay, so every 30 days, get a new one and put it in. I know it sounds often, but if you changing your filter every 30 days, your machine's going to last that much longer. The air you breathe is going to be that much cleaner. I recommend you get those ultra fine ones as well. Put them on there. It's going to make sure that no dust gets into your machine or gets into your lungs. You know, it's going to be ultra purified air, which is what you want. You also get your SD card here as well, so you can push that in and take that out. All right, so that just goes in like that, and that's if you know that stores all your data on it as well. If you want to export your data onto a computer or something like that. All right, but you can close that down. On the other side there is the modem, but you don't really need to worry about that too much. On the top of the device here, you've got your on button. If your machine hasn't been set to automatic on, you can click this button. So if we click this button here, you can see that it's turned on now. And we've also on the top here got a ramp button that we can press as well, okay? Alright, so the ramp there is now 4, and it will gradually increase up to, I think this machine's set to 5, so it'll go 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and gradually increase that ramp up to that fixed pressure because it's a fixed pressure machine. These values down here are showing that we've got our preheat on there, so the preheat's on. If I rotate this dial backwards and forwards, so clockwise and anti-clockwise, you can see it's shifting between these two values. The top value up here is the heated tube, and the bottom value is the level of humidification, so how much moisture is in the air. So if I click this one while it's highlighted, so I'll just go back again. If I click this one while it's highlighted, I can see that number, I'm changing that number there. That's changing the level of heated tube, so how hot that tube's getting. So if we're getting a lot of rain out, a lot of condensation, we probably want to have this heated tube up hotter, okay? Because what that means is going to insulate that humid air that's running through it from the cold outside air. If we rotate down here, we can also change the level of moisture in the air. So this is off, a little bit more moisture, a little bit more moisture, a little bit more moisture. So if we're dry in the throat or waking up, you know, a bit parched, we might need a bit more moisture. But you also remember that if you're running a lot of humidification, so a lot of moisture, there's a chance you're going to get more rain out, so more condensation. So you might want to turn this down a little bit if you're getting a lot of condensation build up, all right? But just play around with those two things. So the top being a heated tube, the bottom the level of moisture. So this one is determining how hot that heater plate gets, okay, the water chamber. how hot that water heater plate gets and how much moisture is going to be in the air. The top one determining how that copper coil that runs through the tubing heats up. The bigger the number, the hotter the temperature of the tubing. Alright, once we're finished, you can hit the power button there and it's off. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed part 2. If you've got an automatic machine, like, it might be a little bit different to that, but that just gives you a bit of an idea on how to sort of go between the different menus, how to sort of interact with them, and sort of a bit about what they involve and what they mean. Alright, if you can be bothered, head on over to part 3. I'll put a link that'll pop up on your screen in the right hand corner. Head up there and check out part 3, which is getting a little bit more advanced and getting into the clinical side of things. Alright, thanks for watching and best wishes. Bye.